Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to another fun episode of Life After, a show dedicated to hearing the stories of paths students take after high school. My name is Katie Zeeck, and I'm a teacher at Southeast High School. These interviews feature students from my past, and today we are joined by Davion Stacker. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Tell us, when did you graduate from Southeast?
I graduated from Southeast with the greatest class ever in 2019.
I love it. Tell us about your senior year. What do you remember?
Oh man, my senior year was an epic year, I think, for Southeast as a whole. I remember, first off, the boys basketball team going almost to state. We were a game away from state. I remember our girls basketball team did pretty well that season too. But our sports around Southeast that year was like phenomenal, from wrestling. I know a couple of friends, Marlon Trimble and Jayleon Teague, they were doing the big thing with the wrestling thing, and baseball. Basketball was there. And so my year was a sports year.
I love it. And of course, we have to talk about your involvement in your senior class and honestly in all 4 years here. Tell our viewers how involved you were. What was your role at Southeast?
Okay, so I started off with the African Center educational part, then went to AC Prep, then Southeast. So I was always involved in something. Once Southeast, I came back, Amari, one of my good friends, and I, we jumped into SGA. My last year at Southeast, I was SGA president. I worked with our senior council to try to make our year one of the best years. So student government, being involved with our administration, just being who I was as a student, trying to engage everybody, trying to make sure everybody was good and happy and taken care of. So that's just a few things that I did during my time at Southeast.
You were just a vital part of your class. Everybody knew you. Everybody liked you. You were always trying to help. You were in this interesting in between of helpful with the administration, but also close with your peers. And so I think that made you a great class president and a vital part of your senior class. And it was so fun to have you here. And then you got accepted to Morehouse. So tell us, what did you do right after you graduated?
Okay, so right after high school, the plan was to go straight to college. I tell people all the time, two of the greatest things that ever happened to me. One was I think Jesus, and the second thing was Morehouse. During my transition from high school, I had applied to 4 schools, right? Morehouse, Howard, Prairie View, and Stanford. And Morehouse was my top school. Got accepted, but Howard was knocking at my door. Like, hey, many people don't know this, but I got a scholarship from Howard. They were offering me a MacBook. And I'm like, Howard's offering money. But sometimes, when your heart tells you to go some other place, that's where you go. And so I came down to visit Morehouse, fell in love with it. I was like, this is the place that I need to be. That was the summer of 2019, the fall of 2019. I arrived down here in Atlanta, Georgia, on the greatest institution known to man, Morehouse College. And the rest is history. I'm a junior now, junior religion major, philosophy minor. It's been a journey. It's been wild. It's been fun. It's been crazy, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. So yes, Morehouse and me are a thing. We got a thing going on.
I love it. Are you enjoying being a part of an HBCU as well?
Yeah, I think for me, HBCU was where I was going. And so being at an HBCU, it's just one big family. It's kind of like Southeast. Southeast, we didn't have a large student population. At Morehouse, we don't have a large student population. I think it's about 2,300 of us. And so we're a close-knit group, and our classes are even closer. And so, the vibe is just there. You walk in, your professors, kind of like you were, you'd be like, I don't know if you remember at Southeast, when we would slack on our work, you'd be like, hey, what you doing? What's going on? It's the same thing here. They're just family, and they care about you, and they pull you to the side and be like, all right, I seen you was at a party last night and my paper still ain't in. What's really going on? So it's just one big family, and I left family to come to another family. So I just fit right in.
I'm so glad to hear that, because sometimes the story students share after high school is that they went to a super big school, they got lost in the shuffle, they were not performing well in school because nobody was holding them accountable. And it sounds like you had the opposite, that you have kind of fallen into another family, just at a different location.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So family, got one family there, got another family here. So
I love it. I love it. And you are still super involved. Do you want to share with our viewers kind of what you're running for and what you're campaigning for right now?
So I'm a part of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, which is a Methodist denomination. We have about 20 districts in our denomination. And I live in the 5th district, which is back at home, but I reside down here on campus, the 6th district. But I won my election 2 weeks ago to go back to the office that I serve as the first vice president for the Young People's and Children's Department, spanning over 15 states in my district, overseeing 3,000 young people. So I won that last week.
Congratulations.
It was tooth and nail, but we did it.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what do you plan to do with that? Or what's kind of your goals as you wrap up your college experience and you're involved in your church? And what are you hoping for?
Yeah, so my time at Morehouse is almost over, unfortunately. The pandemic kind of, threw us off track, but we endured. And so my time is winding down. And so I think the church and school have brought me closer to myself and academically, believe it or not. And so my goals for the church these next 2 years, this is a 2-year term until I graduate in 23. So I'll come out with this term and graduate. My goal is just to, one, push education, and 2, just let people know that you can love Christ at the same time, but also enjoy yourself. And many people get confused with that. And so I just think, living life is just something that's beautiful. And so, those are just a few things. I'm heavily involved on campus too. If I can jump into that real fast, I'm a part of the chaplain assistance program. Morehouse is known for producing some of the finest preachers, Jamal Bryant, E. Dewey Smith, Reginald Sharp, just to name a few. And so I serve as the outreach chair for the Morehouse College chapel, which is a real renowned chapel. I also a part of SGA, kind of do some things in there. And I'm just the advocate and ambassador for Morehouse. I tell people all the time, many are chosen, but only a few are selected. So, Morehouse to me is just like a big brotherhood. And so, those are just a few things that I'm doing right now. Like I said, it's almost over for me. 23 will be here before we know it. But I've enjoyed the ride.
Good. And take every day for it is. It will go by fast, from, your time at EC Prep to graduating from Southeast. The days might feel long, but the time goes by so fast.
Oh, yeah.
And you are, you are trying to grab, it sounds like, everything you can possibly do to experience the best of it. So I'm so proud of you for that. What do you hope to do for after high school then? You want to after graduation from college, you want to come back to Kansas City? Do you see yourself staying in Georgia? Or you want to go somewhere else?
So many people don't know this. Mr. Zeeck's husband, Mr. Zeeck, and my senior year became like buddies. And so he kind of inspired me. Mr. Zeeck probably don't know this, but he kind of inspired me to push this whole college thing even more. And him and I had a conversation before I had left Southeast AC Prep. And he was like, man, you're a go-getter, go get it. And so that's been my motto since I left from Mr. Zeeck, is go get it. And so after graduation, I plan on going to graduate school. I have a few choices. I've already applied, junior year, that's when you're supposed to apply to see who's going to give you the money and stuff like that. But I've applied to 5 thus far. I don't know if you want me to name those 5 or you want to wait till 23. I guess I can name them. Yeah. I can name a few that I've applied to. So I'm going to seminary school, Boston University, Yale Divinity School, Howard, and Vanderbilt and Wake Forest are a few that I've applied to thus far. I haven't really sat down with myself to say, hey, Stack, which school best fits your priorities. But I've just been applying just to get exposed, so when senior year comes around, I won't be like, oh, God, I don't know what I'm about to do next. My goal is to probably stay in Atlanta if I decide to go to Candler School of Theology, which is here. That's the goal. Atlanta's a lot sometimes for the mental health, with the whole traffic, and it's a lot sometimes. There's no place like home. So I really haven't decided what I'm going to do as far as geographic wise, but it's probably going to be here for another after undergrad for probably 3 years, and then venture on back home.
Amazing.
So,
So wonderful. It would be so cool if, Howard was on your heart for a while. And if that happens to be that you just go post grad, then maybe you get a little bit of both. And maybe that was the plan all along. But
oh yeah,
whatever you do, you're gonna go get it, whether Mr. Zeeck tells you that or your inner monologue is telling you that. You have always been a go-getter, and I love that. And then thank you for sharing that about Phil as well.
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
I want to leave our viewers with some advice because you have some of the best. If you think back to high school and transitioning to college, did you either get advice or would you give a piece of advice to our viewers?
Yeah, so leaving high school, first off, there are really good people in Southeast, and they care about you and they care about your well-being. I tell people all the time, everybody's not blessed to have a Mr. and Mrs. Zeeck in their life, a Mr. Journer, a Mr. Muhammad, a Mr. Thornton, Miss Bassett. And I was fortunate to have all these people in my life as I continued to go along. And so I would just tell people a piece of advice that I would leave to people is you can achieve anything that you set your mind to. Mm-hmm. Never allow anybody to limit what you can and cannot do. And listen to those people who are telling you these things. Listen to Miss Zeeck, listen to, your teachers, and listen to the people in your circle who care about you because they've been where you want to go. And they're not going to tell you anything to hinder you from going to where you need to go. And so that's just my piece of advice. Just listen. Always be a good listener and be grateful for the people that you have in your circle because everybody's not fortunate and blessed to have those people. And you'll look back like I am now, junior year in college, and like, man, where did the time go? I just graduated from high school. And now I'm finna wrap up my time at Morehouse. And so, be grateful for your journey. Whatever you find yourself doing, put your best foot forward and change the world. Be a go-getter.
Be a go-getter. Oh gosh, I just love that the fire is still lit underneath you, even moving cities and trying out new things, that you just have that drive, and I cannot wait to see what you do with it.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being in my life, and thank you for grooming me thus and helping me get to where I am now.
Oh, well, just a piece of it. You have a wonderful community and a group of people who love you, still here and all around the world.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you so much again for taking time. I know you're busy, but it's great to catch up with you. It's great to be able to share your piece so that maybe we can inspire others to be go-getters or follow their hearts as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And I also want to thank Kansas City for watching today. It's been a pleasure, Stacker, to see you, and we'll be catching up with you here soon to see what you decide in the next few years.
All right, you all take care. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. Bye, honey.